Welcome to the City Current Show, powered by Hagen-Botham Insurance and Financial Services.
This show focuses on sharing good news and powering the good in our community. Now here's your host, City Current CEO, Jeremy Park.
Welcome to the City Current Show, powered by Hagen-Botham. I'm your host, Jeremy Park. We're always honored to bring you inspiring stories of individuals and organizations making a difference and powering the good. And that's why we're excited to be with Ann Jarvis, Executive Director of USO Fort Campbell, Nashville. How are you doing, Ann?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
Well, we have a lot to talk about because you all do so much to help support our military service members and their families. Before we talk about the mission and the programs and all of that, you actually cover 3 states. So even though it's USO Fort Campbell, Nashville, you cover the whole state of Tennessee, Kentucky, and Arkansas. So start there with the geographical spread, and then we'll dive into the mission and the programs.
Yeah, we do. I know our title is a little deceiving. It says USO Fort Campbell, Nashville, but you're right. We cover 3 whole states. We're a small staff of 5, so we're always looking for volunteers. We thrive off of our volunteers. So we can't do it without them. So we do outreach over to Arkansas. We do it all across Kentucky up to Fort Knox. We have 3 locations, Fort Campbell being our largest. It's actually our center on Fort Campbell is the world's 2nd largest USO. So that's a fun fact for you. And then we also have a center at BNA in Nashville. And then we have a center within the MEPS location in Little Rock, Arkansas. So that's kind of our geographical area. But then we do outreach over to Knoxville. We do some in Memphis. And then we kind of have been exploring around in Arkansas as well. So we're excited to be able to bring USO goodness to all 3 of our states and to service members and their families in all little pockets here and there.
Well, you do a lot when you talk about support, outreach, and so go ahead and dive into what you do.
Oh, man. Okay. Well, the best way to do that would be, first of all, go to our website, fortcampbell.uso.org, if you really want to do a deep dive. But to give you a little history about the USO. So in 1941, FDR came together and with 6 organizations represented by the 6 stars on our logo and said, hey, we need to help service members and just lift the morale of our service members during World War II. And so now for 83, 84 years now, I'm not good at math. Don't blame me. We've been doing just that. So we've been lifting the morale of service members and their families. And we do that through all kinds of things. We offer coffee connections for military spouses. And that's a program where spouses can come together. We do that in Little Rock, Arkansas. We do that at Fort Campbell. We've taken that on the road over to Knoxville. We've gone up to Fort Knox with that and over to Bowling Green. We bring spouses together, and with military being such a transient population, you come to a new city or a new base and you're like, I don't know anybody, but I need an emergency contact for my kids and my husband's going to deploy soon. So, you meet another spouse and you're like, hey, you want to be my emergency contact type thing, and it's just a way for, spouses to meet each other, a way to build community. And that's kind of the goal of that program. And every time we try and do some sort of fun activity, and a way to, have something fun as well as for them to meet each other and, build that community. And we do a canine program, and that's with people's pets. That's with military dogs. That's with therapy dogs as well. So on Wednesdays, we have a program called Warrior Wednesdays at Fort Campbell. And oftentimes we have therapy dogs come in. And a lot of times service members, they don't have their dog with them. A lot of times the guys that live in barracks, their family dog is back home. And so they haven't seen their pet in a while. And so it's really fun for them to be able to pet therapy dogs and spend some time with them. So we like to bring those. We've also had them at the airport too, at BNA. So while people are traveling and get to see the therapy dogs too. We have a program called our care package program. So we, send, and that program goes way back from a long time ago when we very first started the USO care packs, bringing a little taste of home to overseas. So we are at a lot of deployments across our whole 3 states. We send care packs to units deploying. Here at Fort Campbell specifically, we give them as they're about to board the plane on deployments. And as they're boarding, we give them what we call bye-bye bags. It's little care packs. We have wonderful community partners that love to put those together for us. It's always a great employee engagement opportunity. You purchase all the items, you put them together with your employees, and then we'll come and get them as donations, and we give them directly to the service members as a way to say thank you. And usually we like to call them lickies and chewies, but something to eat, a little snack, and then like toiletry items, that things, and maybe a little game or a Sudoku or that deck of cards, something to keep them occupied on the plane as well. And then we also do welcome home bags, care packages. So when service members come back and they're coming back to their barracks, we usually do them for the single service members. We put them in their bags with the help of the commands. And it usually has something like a new air freshener and a cup of noodles and a bottle of water and some utensils and some other snacks and something, because a lot of times they're coming home to a barracks at like 2, 3 in the morning and everything's closed, but you're kind of wired because you've been up traveling, and so you're still kind of hungry. It's something to tide them over until the next day. That's what the goal of those are, and a way to say thank you for your deployment. Thank you for coming back safe. We're glad you're home. So we do a lot of care package programs. Our centers are one of our biggest core program, and we're so excited, and we cannot do those centers without A, our volunteers, but B, our community help with our snacks. And we always appreciate snack drives. Our centers, being at one of our core programs, it's huge because our foot traffic has increased potentially. Like it's like expanded so much in the last this year. I can't even tell you. In the month of September at Fort Campbell, we had just shy of 10,000 people come through our door. So that's quite a few people come through Fort Campbell's door. And at BNA, it was just shy of about 5,000 people come through traveling a month. And so we are in the need of community support with filling our pantry of snacks and lickies and chewies and stuff for service members coming through, and also volunteer support. So we're always in the need, as is everyone, but
Well, but I mean, I think it's a powerful way to serve, right? Serve those who are serving us. And so when you talk about like the care packages, especially for companies and organizations that say, hey, that sounds awesome, and I can even put thank you notes in there and things like that. What's a quantity? I mean, obviously the more the better, but what's a quantity typically when you say, hey, we need this per, group? What does that look like in terms of quantity? And you've already mentioned obviously the items that are most popular.
Fair question. So flights, usually it fluctuates, but I would say a good range that most companies are comfortable with would be 200 to 500 packs. And it depends too on how big and how small you want to make them. If you want to do Ziploc style and just do 5 or 6 items, is a little bit more manageable. If you want to do bigger bags, maybe, do fewer. It's up to the donor and how many they want to do. We can definitely use anything that are given to us. We will make it work, because sometimes we do have the special forces units tend to go, fewer people are deploying at a time, and they're going to ask for fewer bags. But you have your bigger brigades where we're going to need more bags, and usually we can supplement things that. So if we're only given 500, we can supplement another 250. That type of thing. So we will make whatever work, but that kind of is up to donor and whatever they're able to make work on their end.
Touch on too some of the other things, because I know for you all, you do gaming and wellness and family activities, and there's a lot that really bring in, opportunities to serve the whole family. So touch on those.
Yeah, we do. We do a ton of family events. It was so exciting. Back in October, we did our big trucks and treats event, and we had 1,100 people out of that one. It was so much fun. And we'd like to bring in companies and organizations to, amplify some of our family programming. We do story times. April coming up is going to be month of military child in April. And we do a lot of family events and stuff to celebrate military kids. We're going to be doing our military kids ball again. We do a military kid art show. We work with the local libraries to kind of submit and showcase military kid art. We do a lot of stuff to just highlight what our military families go through and support them and how we can. Here at our Fort Campbell Center, we have a family room that gets used every day. We have a music room. We have our gaming room where we have PC gaming and console gaming, and it's kind of a way for them to use as a stress relief as well as a way to connect with people. So we see people connecting online with their friends and family across, sometimes the ocean, across the country, across state, just the state line, but just a way I think the USO is just looking for ways to connect service members with their family and friends wherever they may be.
As you alluded to, for families, who all of a sudden show up on base and it's all new and they're trying to build the connections and will you be my emergency contact, like so critical in terms of those relationships. But also too, just like you're talking about for companies, organizations, and individuals and families just in the community to be able to show support, show care, show appreciation, but also build community and relationships.
Yeah.
Touch on what that feedback is like for the service members and their families. Obviously, that's, the critical piece, like you mentioned before, but then for the community in terms of what it means for them to be able to build those relationships as well.
Yeah, I think we like to bring in community and organizations into our events to be able to build those connections, right? And we want to we want our community members to know that, they're supporting our service members, but we want our service members and their families to know that these resources are available to you as well, whether they're for-profit or nonprofit partners of ours, we want them to know what's available to them and what's here, what are the fun local things to go and do. We have our Warrior Summer events that we do where we try and partner with other local businesses and just take them to really cool places that they might not know. Pennyrile State Park has a really cool lake up there up north of us, and then we'll go down and do something with the Titans down in Nashville, or the Sounds. We've taken them to the Sounds Stadium and done stuff, so just taking them down to do different stuff within our, our 3 states. There's so many really cool things, and I'm a transplant myself, so I had to learn all those really cool things too. So it's kind of, I get to also learn those things, and the more I learn my personal self, I've been like, we should go and take our families and go do this, and so it's been kind of fun. And I've been a transplant in many other places. And so I've kind of taken that experience of, you have to bloom where you're planted, right? And I think that's also, fun fact, let me back up a little bit. Fun fact about the military child. The flower for the military child is the dandelion because of its resilience, right? And so they're a weed, right? They'll bloom where they're planted. And so that is why it's such an important thing for military families. And they're so resilient, and that you hear that all the time, and so as the USO, we want to help them grow and bloom where they're planted. So, we want them to grow and see all the really fun things that we can do. And we love when community partners help us achieve that and accomplish that and show our military families all the really cool things that we have to offer around this area.
Yeah. And I love that you weave in these fun facts too. That's great.
You're welcome.
Great for our trivia later. So.
I could talk about the USO all day long.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. And so carry that into the volunteerism, because obviously the care packages, as we talked about before, that's one powerful way to serve. But with all the upcoming events and all the different things throughout the year, and especially holidays and like all these kind of special moments, talk about volunteerism, as you mentioned, being volunteer powered, small but mighty team, but relying on tons of volunteers to do this work. Touch on the importance of volunteerism and how we can serve and help.
Yeah. First thing you can do is go to volunteers.uso.org. Or if you can't remember that, just Google USO volunteers. It'll be the first link there. I started as a USO volunteer. That's actually how I got involved 12 years ago. And I just fell in love, and it's so rewarding. And as a volunteer, there's many opportunities. Just working at our front desk, helping keeping our centers open. Both of our centers at Fort Campbell and Nashville are open 7 days a week. MEPS is actually in Little Rock is unmanned. It's ran by the MEPS staff over there. So it's open when they're open, but we can't keep our doors open without volunteers. Such a small staff, we can't be open all the time with just staff. So volunteers really are the key to keeping the centers open 7 days a week. And they run the center. They keep us, they keep our inventory going. They brighten up the space with a smile. They, keep our centers clean. They connect our service members, like at BNA when the recruits come in. A lot of our our volunteers are retirees or a spouse of a retiree, and they can offer some words of wisdom or just comfort to the recruits that have never flown maybe. And they're like, "Whoa, I just came through security. Like, I didn't know they were going to take my whole tube of toothpaste." You know what I mean? And they're like kind of thrown for a loop a little bit. And it's like, it's okay. Here's a new travel one for you kind of thing. And so offering up some comfort to the new recruits coming through, or just helping people figure out like where do they need to go next for their next flight, or helping them out that way through the airport is we love to do that type of thing. And here at Fort Campbell, we like to just offer up whatever we can to be supportive of our service members, especially, thinking back now through this last government shutdown and everything was going on. We wanted to be here for our military families as much as we could, and just offer up a space for them to come and relax and just decompress with everything that was going on and all the uncertainty. So we were happy to be that place for them.
Yeah, you never can say it enough in the world of media. So mention again, website, where do we go to learn more, obviously, about the volunteerism, but all the different ways we can support and get involved with USO Fort Campbell?
Yeah, so fortcampbell.uso.org. There's a nice little tab up there that says get involved. You can find out how to donate, how to volunteer, how to find our wish list for items, all kinds of things. So fortcampbell.uso.org.
Well, Ann, thank you for all you and your amazing team do to power the good. Thank you for coming on the show.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Good to see you again.
Higginbotham Insurance and Financial Services is proud to power the City Current Show. We're a people-first company that protects what matters most, the families, businesses, and trailblazers that keep our community going. As one of the nation's top independent insurance firms, Higginbotham is a single-source solution for business insurance, employee benefits, HR services, and personal insurance that's customized for you. We're here to serve you, the people you care about, and your community. Call 866-377-1959 or visit higginbotham.com.